Now that Megan and Robert have explained our consulting philosophy and described the differences between groups and teams, we can talk about specific team behaviors. When organizations form teams, they envision employees working harmoniously together to solve problems, develop ideas, and complete projects. Yet often, the reality is much different. According to Cantu, research shows that teams often underperform as a result of lack of coordination, motivation, and competition. In today's business environment, employees are routinely asked to coordinate and collaborate in dynamic environments across organizational boundaries. To get the most out of our teams, we have to first understand the roadblocks to success. All teams, whether face to face or virtual teams, can experience challenges related to communication. Visible and invisible boundaries exist between people and within organizational structures. Boundaries result from organizational structure and assumptions and beliefs held by individuals based on gender, occupation, and nationality. Brett, Beaufort, and Kern, 2013, Edmondson, 2012. As Megan discussed earlier, the fear of speaking up limits the free exchange of ideas and information. Project tension, interpersonal conflicts, fear of confrontation resulting from disagreements, and organizational hierarchy can all contribute to stifling communication among team members. As I mentioned earlier, organizational hierarchy, or the roles and positions team members hold, can be a barrier to effective open communication. Edmondson 2012 proposes that humans are hardwired to be sensitive to power and authority. When teams have an imbalance in power or social structure, communication can suffer. Team members are less likely to ask for clarification. They may have concerns that others do not value their skills, can be afraid they will be reprimanded for mistakes, and are less likely to bring up problems. In addition to team members not speaking up and potential barriers related to hierarchy when team members come from different professions or functional communities, they face knowledge barriers. Different professions or functional communities develop their own language, shared experiences, and taken for granted knowledge. Edmondson 2012. Gratson and Erickson 2013 found collaboration is easier when team members know each other and perceive themselves to be similar. Differences in occupational cultures and knowledge levels can lead to mistrust and misunderstanding in cross-functional teams. Edmondson 2012. The same holds true for cultural barriers. Whether an organization has employees around the world or has different cultures represented within their work center, cultural differences can create significant obstacles. According to Brett, Beaufort, and Kern 2013, the four most common communication barriers result from direct versus indirect communication, trouble with accents and fluency, differing attitudes towards hierarchy, and conflicting decision-making norms. If unaddressed, these barriers result in reduced information sharing, interpersonal conflict, and reduced productivity. Edmondson 2012. While all team members face communication obstacles of speaking up, roles, knowledge barriers, and cultural differences, there are challenges that are specific to virtual teams. Virtual team members can be dispersed across different geographical areas, resulting in time zone differences and the inability to meet face to face on a regular basis. Initial face to face meetings help team members establish trust, develop awareness of cultural differences, and set expectations on roles and accountability. Edmondson 2012. Without the benefit of a face-to-face meeting, leaders and team members must find alternative means to establish trust and develop common operating principles. Virtual teams do not occupy the same space and time. Team members are physically separated from each other and can be located in separate time zones. Scheduling online or virtual meetings can be hampered by differences in technology and time. For example, as Team 1 Consulting prepared for this presentation, Megan was in Arizona, Robert was in California, and I was in New Mexico. Together, we spanned 3 time zones, and because of travel commitments, often had limited technology capabilities. Collaborating with these challenges could have easily created anxiety and misunderstandings as deadlines approached. Without being co located, virtual teams lack the ability to exchange ideas and thoughts spontaneously. Edmond, 2012. Team members miss out on impassioned dialogue and just bouncing ideas off of each other, which often occur during walks in the hallways or around the water cooler for face to face teams. Fisher and Boynton, 2013. On virtual teams, it is hard for members of the team to gauge the entire team when something controversial or thought provoking has been mentioned because the team members miss body language clues that would be observed during a face to face setting. Researchers theorize 80% of communication is not about what is being said, rather, it's our own interpretation of nonverbal communication. Virtual teams often miss out on the building of relationships and increase the likelihood of misunderstandings. It can be difficult to gauge how the team members react when something controversial or thought provoking has been mentioned, as team members miss cues that would have been observed during a face to face setting. When initially forming teams, the size, expertise, and how member roles are assigned can play a direct role in its success. Research conducted by Grant and Erickson 2013 shows the typical size of teams has grown over the past 10 years, with some corporations having teams that exceed over 100 people when working on complex, challenging issues. However, the larger a team is, the less connected team members are. Not only is it difficult to distinguish who is on the team, but team members are less likely to share knowledge and resources or help each other complete tasks and meet deadlines. Team members are often selected for membership for reasons other than their specific expertise. Leaders choose team members for a variety of reasons that sometimes include fear of seeming exclusionary, office politics, and friendship. When teams are not selected based on what they bring to the table, the team can become dysfunctional. Each team member comes into a team with their own bias, work habits, and pre-existing job assignments. When team roles and performance expectations are not clearly defined, teams can disintegrate into a few members doing the majority of the work, with the rest of the team really only present for team meetings and reviews. When work is not evenly distributed, commitment to achieving team goals declines and emotional conflicts rise. Kozenbach and Smith, 2013. Since Robert has wrapped up our explanation of common barriers face-to-face and virtual teams experience, we can now focus on how organizations can set teams up for success. Leaders can take several steps to address the challenges presented by the fear of speaking up, power imbalances, and knowledge boundaries. Megan highlighted how leaders can create environments where employees are empowered to speak up. To address power imbalances and hierarchy challenges, leaders should model effective collaboration behaviors. In practice, leaders do this through building a sense of inclusiveness. Team members in positions of authority should actively seek out and show appreciation of different ideas and work products produced by other team members. Edmondson, 2012. Framing questions as an inquiry that is aspirational invites dialogue versus advocacy for a position or idea, which can place members in a defensive position. Edmondson, 2012. By creating the right impression during the initial team meeting and continuing positive team-oriented behavior with every following interaction, leaders can reduce anxiety related to status or hierarchy differences. Confronting the knowledge barriers that result from creating teams that cross professional and occupational communities or that have cultural or global concerns begins with simply acknowledging that these differences exist. Leaders and team members can then develop methods to counteract these challenges. Leaders should focus on creating an environment where curiosity is embraced and expected. When projects or problems are approached through the lens of curiosity and a willingness to learn, anxiety is reduced and teams are inspired to achieve more. Edmondson 2012. Occupational and expertise knowledge differences can be lessened with the use of drawings, prototypes, and components, allowing employees to draw conclusions and spur discussions from visual representations of knowledge. Edmondson 2012. Creating shared collaboration tools or knowledge marketplaces can assist employees in sharing tactic knowledge and breaking down organizational boundaries. Providing a space for employees to post problems or ask questions allows colleagues with expertise or experience in those specific areas to provide solutions or to offer advice. Organizations that build teams that cross global or cultural boundaries should develop strategies to adapt to differences early. Multicultural teams benefit from managers who establish and enforce norms early, create opportunities for social interaction, equally engage all members of the team, and approach challenges resulting from culture with humor and creativity, have the best chance of success. Brett Benhar and Kern 2012. Additionally, Brett Benhar and Kern 2012 suggests teams adapt through acknowledging cultural gaps and working with them or finding ways around them. Structural interventions can be implemented by deliberately reorganizing the team or reassigning work to reduce interpersonal conflict. Defining early when managerial interventions should be employed, and establishing when and under what circumstances team members should exit the team. Virtual teams face barriers related to time and distance, and leaders are challenged to identify ways to create synergy among members. An initial or recurring face-to-face meeting can enable team members to establish trust, build relationships, and share knowledge. Additionally, an initial face-to-face meeting can be used to create the guiding principles for how the team will function and help the team develop a shared vision for the project. Edmondson 2012, Watkins 2013. Virtual teams will also benefit from creating a normalized work rhythm. To the maximum extent possible, virtual teams should have virtual meetings on the same day and time each week. Meetings should have an agenda, communication protocols, and identify who is responsible for specific actions after the meeting. Watkins 2013. To replicate the innovation and idea sharing that happens when team members are co-located and have opportunities for spontaneous communication, an organization can utilize collaborative platforms or social networking applications to connect team members outside of formal meetings. Collaboration platforms such as Google Docs or SharePoint allow for near instantaneous updates to project documents. Social networking platforms that include instant messaging can strengthen relationships and encourage team members to get to know each other better. Creating a space where employees can interact, share ideas, and collaborate helps employees feel connected and increases the sharing of information. Edmondson 2012, Watkins 2012. Integrating video teleconferencing into team meetings or check-ins allows employees to see nonverbal cues and pick up on the meaning behind the words. Putting a face to the name also assists team members in forming relationships and increases their perception of feeling connected to other members. To maximize a team's chance for success, leaders should clearly define team roles, tasks, and behavioral norms to enable team members to work towards a common purpose while reducing interpersonal conflicts. Cantu 2013, Edmondson 2012. Leaders should begin structuring the team by being stingy with team size. The larger the team, the harder it is to manage. Smaller teams ensure leaders and team members know who is on the team and who isn't. Cantu 2012. Experts advise keeping the team size small, somewhere between 3 and 20. Cantu 2013. Selecting the right number of team members with the right expertise in the beginning of the project allows members to form team norms from the first meeting. If a larger team must be used, leaders should initially plan for significant investment in time and resources to build the relationships necessary for collaboration. Grattan and Erickson, 2013. This initial investment in relationship building can be more crucial for virtual teams where collaboration and cooperation can decline as the team grows and members become even more stovepiped. Leaders should structure teams according to each member's strengths and what each person brings to the table. Kozenbach and Smith, 2013, suggests selecting team members for skill and skill potential, not personality. Leaders should consider the specific expertise or skills needed to complete the project and evaluate potential team members on their ability to improve their innate skills as well as their capacity to learn new ones. Aside from specific expertise such as engineering or marketing, teams benefit from having members skilled in appreciating others, purposeful discussion, creatively solving conflict, and project management. Gratson and Erickson, 2013. Once the makeup of the team has been determined, leaders should then develop and articulate early, acceptable behavioral norms and each member's role in the team. Kickoff meetings should include an opportunity to develop rules of conduct, structured to help the team meet their purpose and performance goals. Areas addressed should include attendance, approaches to decision making, expected levels of contribution, discussion protocols, and ground rules for constructive confrontation. Kozenbach and Smith, 2013.